Hey Food Allergy Mama, the first time I sent my kid to summer day camp, I honestly did not know what I didn't know. I had the EpiPens packed, the forms filled out, the snacks labeled, but I still had that pit in my stomach wondering, did I forget something that actually matters? If you're feeling that too, or you're just trying to figure out if camp is even a safe option, you are not alone. In today's episode, I'm sharing what I learned as a food allergy mom after sending my child to day camp. I'll walk you through the questions I asked, what I packed, how I prepped both my child and the camp staff. But I'm also going to tell you about things that no one warned me about, the emotional side, the red flags I noticed too late, and what I'd do differently next time. So whether you've already signed up for day camp or you're still deciding, stick around to the end. You'll leave feeling more prepared, more confident, and less alone. Let's get to it. Hey Food Allergy Mama. If you're here, you've likely experienced the scary and lonely food allergy diagnosis with your child. Unfortunately, food allergy parents aren't taught how to navigate the food allergy lifestyle, and it's easy to feel alone and discouraged sometimes. But I'm here to show you that food allergy life doesn't have to feel restrictive, scary, or isolated. I'm Karina, and I'm a 17-year food allergy mom and food allergy coach at Friendly Pantry Consulting. I specialize in making food allergy life safer and less worrisome for food allergy families like yours. I'm not perfect, but over 17 years, I've learned a lot the hard way, and I'm sharing the secrets and resources you won't hear anywhere else that will help you feel confident living with food allergies faster and easier than I did. From introducing allergens, travel, navigating school, and educating friends and family, this podcast will give you the essential tips and strategies you need to help your food allergy child and family thrive. Welcome to the show. Have you heard? I've become a food allergy travel advisor. You can access my years of travel experience to take the burden of planning off your plate so you can focus on making memories with your family. Whether you want to go to Disney, on a cruise, or another option, email me at karina.meckelborg@fora.travel and we can chat about your next trip. You can also sign up for my Food Allergy Travel Secrets email list, which is where I share our family's travel secrets that we've learned after 18 years of traveling with food allergies. Go to www.friendlypantry.com/travel secrets, all one word with an S. Let me just start by saying that my kids were not typical camp kids. Just like me, they've always been homebodies, and they weren't super excited about the typical summer day camp. I remember one time when my youngest was having a particularly hard time, and I left her hoping that she would warm up to the camp counselors as I was leaving. Well, I sure felt bad when I got back, and my oldest daughter told me that my youngest cried to herself almost the whole time. The mom guilt went into full gear. Even then, I still tried at least one half-day or full-day camp every summer because I wanted them to experience games and activities and exploring. I wanted them to try new things. And even through the hard parts, I believe that these experiences were good for them. So if you want to give summer camp a try, but you're not sure how to manage food allergies, today I'm going to share my best tips with you. Okay, so my first tip is to ask lots of questions that go beyond that typical, do you allow kids with food allergies or can you accommodate kids with food allergies? And you need to do this before you even sign up, because if they don't have things in place before camp begins, it's not going to be easy to get a program for allergies in place after. And don't assume that they know what they're doing just because they're working with kids. Honestly, so many camps are unprepared when it comes in this way. They might just put a no-nut policy in place and hope that it's enough, but it isn't. Of course, a child with a milk or egg allergy or other type of allergy is not covered by this policy, and a no-nut policy does nothing if they aren't enforcing it and doing other procedures as well. So don't assume that they know. Now, I think that us food allergy moms can sometimes feel afraid to ask the hard questions. It can feel uncomfortable and hard, but I really want to encourage you. By asking these hard questions, you're actually educating them about allergies. You're creating knowledge where there is none. You're moving that camp director or counselor towards awareness. Even if they don't have anything in place, your questions could help them to see that, hey, maybe this is important. And if they get more allergy moms asking, they can see that it's even more important. We can't just suffer in silence because that just makes the problem worse instead of better. So all that to say, don't skip this step. And of course, do it with a kind spirit so that your message is received well. So here are a few questions you could ask the camp before enrolling. Of course, you want to talk about the food situation. So who handles the food? Is there full-time kitchen staff, or do parents provide their own food? And if parents provide their own food, how are kids going to be supervised to ensure that they don't share? So if the camp provides the food, you will want to go into more detail about their kitchen protocols. So I go into detail about these questions in episodes 60 and 12, and I plan to do another one with more detailed questions soon, so watch for that. But a few questions to highlight are, do they read all of the labels and ensure that they don't have your child's allergens? How do they lower the chance of cross-contact or contamination in the food prep space? And do they make allergy meals in a clean area? Do they use separate utensils for food allergies and new gloves? And you may want to consider, if they are providing food, will it be better to actually send your own food? And they may even require it anyway. You could ask if they could let you know what the food will be, and then you could send your own safe version. Once you've figured out the food scene, here are a few other questions to think about. Is there a fridge or microwave available? How are medications stored and where? Are they in close proximity to your child? Can your child self-carry? And if you know me, I prefer this if possible. I talk about it in lots of previous episodes, and I will link to a couple of those. You also want to go into detail about what they do for their training. So do the camp counselors know how to lower the chance of reaction in the first place? So this means knowledge of cross-contact and how it could show itself when they're in camp. So one child touches their peanut butter or their butter on their sandwich, and then they touch another child's sandwich or the table that they're on, and then that table butter or peanut butter gets onto the child. So just this whole knowledge of cross contact and lowering that from happening. Do they teach that? Do they teach them how to recognize anaphylaxis? And who would administer the EpiPen? And are they trained to do that? I would be concerned about a teen who has minimal medical training and whether they're going to have the confidence to administer that EpiPen. And if it's not going to be the teen counselor who's with them, how close is that nurse going to be, or that person who actually will administer it at all times? Because you don't want them to be too far away or having to find these people when this is happening. So you really want to go and dig into this and figure out what is going to happen here and what they've got in place. So a couple of red flags to watch for is vague answers. So sometimes they just like to say, oh, we've had kids with allergies before. But I don't think that's enough, because just because you've had it before doesn't mean that you know how to deal with it. If they have resistance to answering your questions, or if they actually have no plan in place, definitely red flags. Another red flag might be having a nut ban without having any other processes, which can be a false sense of security. So first and foremost, as I mentioned before, a nut ban does nothing for other kids or other allergies. And if they're just relying on the nut ban and not teaching people how to use the epinephrine and all of that, that's going to be dangerous as well. So you want to make sure that they have full processes in place, like washing hands and surfaces before and after eating, not sharing food, keeping a close eye on allergy kids, good training that recognizes anaphylaxis and how to use the epinephrine, and all of those kinds of things. Okay, the second tip is to prepare your child. Now, if your child is school age, all of these things are going to be similar to what you're going to teach them for school. And I have a whole checklist of skills that is great for kids aged 2 to 7 to help them be more independent. You can grab that for free at friendlypantry.com/empowerment. And here's a few that I'll highlight from that list. And number 1 is to role play what they'll do if they feel symptoms. So role playing is such a great way to practice, and it helps kids to understand what to do. And if your kids are like mine and they don't like to act things out themselves, you could try doing it with their stuffies. Number 2 is to practice how to say no thank you confidently if they're offered food. They never have to feel like they must take something to be polite. This is really hard for some kids, and it's important to just practice saying no thank you so that they can feel confident when that comes to be if that happens. Number 3 is let them be part of packing their safe food items so they know what's what when it comes to snack time. And part of the fun might even include letting them choose their favorite safe foods to bring. And number 4 is teach them to recognize unsafe situations like shared snacks or food that hasn't been approved by you or their trusted adult, or food that doesn't have a label that they can read if they're old enough. Okay, so let's move into what you're going to pack and bring with them to the summer camp. And the first thing is, of course, your clearly labeled epinephrine, whether that's the Neffy or your injectors and other meds like asthma inhalers. And make sure to put them in a cooler pack if the weather is going to be hot. I have some information on a few different options for this. It's called an episode called How to Store Epinephrine in the Heat. You can go to episode 66 where I talk about several options, and I'm going to link to that episode in the show notes. But you also want to send your anaphylaxis emergency plan, which is going to include their allergens, their symptoms, how your child communicates a reaction, emergency steps, and a photo. And don't forget that photo is important because if those teachers are looking or those counselors are looking at all the kids, knowing what the kid looks like is a huge help to them. So make sure you have an anaphylaxis emergency plan with an updated photo. If you don't have one from your allergist, you can go to the FAIR website that has a really great general one that you could use. You might also want to consider an allergy t-shirt or a medical alert bracelet. So if your child is young, a t-shirt can make it super easy for the staff to identify that your child has an allergy. It becomes a little less helpful when your kids can read and now your child is identified as different because it says, I have allergies or don't feed me food. So this is where a medical bracelet can be even more helpful because medical staff will know to look for it and they can easily see what the issue is and they can see it quickly so they can act quickly. Other thing is to, of course, bring your allergy-friendly snacks and don't forget your wipes because you want your child, even if they don't wash their hands, you want them to wipe their hands before eating if they aren't able to access that soap and water. All right, tip number 4 is to meet the staff before the camp starts. And this is honestly something I didn't do, but I feel like it would have been so helpful. And why didn't I think of it sooner? Because it would have helped the camp counselor to feel confident and then helped me to feel confident too. So just ask for that quick check-in meeting before camp starts on the first day. And what you can do is check in with them, bring your epinephrine training device, show them how to use it, show them the anaphylaxis plan, answer questions that they might have. All of these things are going to go a long way, not only for your nerves, but to ensure everyone is on the same page. Tip number 5 is to be ready for those doubts because it is so easy to doubt yourself when it comes to food allergies and any kind of activity where you're not going to be there. And I remember that I kept asking myself, am I being overprotective? Am I making too much of a deal of this? First of all, I say no, you are not being overprotective. I hope that when parents ask the questions and make the requests that it can show the summer camp where their weaknesses are. It's actually helping them create better processes. It can also help another food allergy kid stay safe as well. So don't be afraid to ask the questions and push in a kind and helpful way to make improvements. Of course, try and be cooperative, work with a sense of unity and patience and kindness because that is going to create a great relationship and help everyone. You may also feel those doubts about leaving your child. Be prepared. Your mind might run into spirals about whether you should leave or whether you've done enough. But once you've researched the camp, you've asked the questions, you've prepared your child, and you've confirmed with the leader on the first day, you have done a great job. Of course, the camp just doesn't seem prepared. Go with your gut. But once you've done everything you can, it's time to remember why you signed your child up in the first place and let them enjoy their camp. Here's the thing. If you're worried about summer camps in general, it's okay to start small. Start with a half-day camp, and if that goes well, work your way up. You don't have to start with a full day or sleepaway camp right away. And remember, it's okay if camps are not for you at all. There is nothing that says summer camps are required for kids to becoming amazing adults. Every kid has a different journey, and that is okay. Don't feel pressured to do something that doesn't work for you or your kids and your family. Did this episode help you? If so, please leave a 5-star review and share with another food allergy mom. And if you want to have my food allergy expertise on your side so you don't have to plan your vacation on your own, I'd love to help you create a trip that feels safe, doable, and fun. You don't have to do it all yourself. Let's make your next trip feel like a vacation. Email me at karina.meckelborg@fora.travel to chat about your next vacation. Thanks for listening, and bye for now. Before you go, Mama, if you love this episode and want deeper support, head over to friendlypantry.com to see how we can partner together to keep your food allergy child safer and worry less. There's no need for wasting time searching all over Instagram, TikTok, and the web to get the practical knowledge you need for your family. While you're there, grab your free Food Allergy Kids Empowerment Guide or the newly diagnosed checklist today. Topics are not medical advice and are the opinions, views, and property of Friendly Pantry Consulting Incorporated. All rights reserved. Always contact your board-certified allergist, immunologist for health advice.